Hello friends, welcome to Alkem IAS. Welcome to another class of the Hindu and Indian Express analysis for October 23rd, 2021. And I am B. Teja. I have graduated from IIT Kharagpur, BTech Honors, and I'm basically from Hyderabad, Telangana. So I appeared in UPSC mains exam 4 times. I worked as ex-faculty at several institutes. So let us begin today's discussion of Hindu and Indian Express. Today's Hindu, which is there, I found it's a bit factual. Less analytical, but there are some important economic news. Okay, so from that angle, we'll be discussing Hindu today. So as you can see, this is the Delhi edition of Hindu. And in this first, we have India weighs net zero target ahead of COP. What is the net zero target we have? Like presently, if you see our INDCs, India's target is 33 to 35% we have to reduce the emission levels by 2030 of 2005 levels, right? That is our normal INDC. And we also have a commitment to, keep the temperature rise below 1.5 degrees Celsius. But unfortunately, not unfortunately, but the global sort of scenario for undertaking this climate change issues and climate change negotiation is for a net zero. मतलब not 33 to 35 भैया, आप zero कर दो. Okay, make it a net zero climate target. Though of course we will not budge on demanding the $100 billion which we are asking. Okay, from the developed countries, which is basically the Global Climate Change Fund. Okay, Global Climate Change Fund, जो Cancun Summit से चल रहा है, which was given a hint during the Copenhagen Summit. So for that, we will again push with all the other developing countries. So where is this COP26 going to be held? It is going to be held in Glasgow. Right? So all countries doing this by 2050, scientists say, will mean having a chance of restricting average temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius. And the emissions have to fall around 45% by 2030. Okay, road to net zero kya hai? You can see countries like UK and France have already enacted laws to achieve the net zero target, and they're putting pressure on India. Okay, the third largest emitter, which is not in favor to committing to a deadline. Net zero matlab, instead of our 33 to 35, having a complete zero. Okay, India says future net zero promises are hollow as countries responsible for climate crisis have not delivered on previous promises. Okay, India argues that countries clamoring for net zero will continue to pollute on a per capita basis. So that is our argument. Okay, so yesterday a fire broke out in Mumbai, in Lalbagh area. I think you have seen in the social media also, this was in news. Next, our Prime Minister had asked to celebrate the festival Diwali with adequate care and precaution. Okay, other political news. As I told you, today it's all factual, not much news is there. Next, we have, as part of the city news, in Delhi, some, Pakistan Hindu families, they're saying that it's our home. They're staying, some migrants, they're staying in Delhi, Adarsh Nagar camp, not Delhi. Okay, just be aware what is going on, at least for interview purpose, it will be useful. Okay. Next, we have all political news. Okay, NHRC officials are in news. So what are NHRC? It's a National Human Rights Commission. So an ACP in Hyderabad, he had told SC panel that they had threatened him. he said that NHRC did not record and picked up the sun. So ये poll is NHRC का हमेशा चलता रहता है. Even when you're discussing from the mains angle, this is a major point. NHRC is at loggerheads with the police department. Okay. So coming to our main discussion of editorials. So first editorial is about the Punjab politics, Amarinder Singh ka jo ho raha hai. And even the main editorial is also about disaster management, but they have gone in depth, very localized. Okay, from a Kerala point of view, they have given. Okay, Kerala mein land use change kya ho raha hai, historically how there is population growth, agriculture expansion, economic growth. So that's why there was a lot of terracing, slope modification, rock quarrying, construction of hill slopes have happened. So that's why we needed technical expertise. So all these sort of things are given. And again, it's a very localized news for the Kerala. And we have Western Ghats Ecology Expert Panel, known as Gadgil Committee on protection of the Western Ghats is the best example. Okay, Gadgil Committee and Kasturi Rangan Committee. So very localized news. Okay, आप disaster management में floods के बारे में और अच्छे तरीके से पढ़ सकते हो. Okay, yeah, clean energy will be discussing. This is an important thing. So it's about energy security and clean energy transition plan for India. Okay, make sure that ये COP26 का season है. So you'll be seeing a lot of news on environment, energy over the coming few days. Okay, definitely you'll be seeing that. So what do you understand by energy security? Energy security is basically the uninterrupted supply of energy. Okay, you have to have uninterrupted, and they should also be economical. Okay, at affordable prices. In fact, there is another one to energy security, which is quality. Okay, quality or sustainability. मतलब एक तो uninterrupted होना है, you need to have proper supply. Next is not quality, let us write it as sustainability only. Sustainability is a better term. Okay, it should be sustainable. And this article has given twin challenges, but there are 3 angles of energy security. Okay, it should be accessible to everyone, it should be uninterrupted, it should be economical, it should be sustainable. So India ka challenges kya hai? We have $1.3 billion population, and we have to safeguard the energy security and also contribute to the global efforts to mitigate climate change, right? So if you see our Electricity Act of 2003, the installed coal-fired thermal plants has more than doubled to 192 gigawatt. Okay, so this huge increase has enabled the government to increase per capita electricity consumption by 37%, while reducing the peak demand from 9.8 to 1.6%. But India still has a long way to go in providing electricity security to people, since per capita electricity consumption is only a third of global average. So definitely the power generation capacity has all grown, but per capita we are still poor. Okay, and what is our core of energy production? It is coal. Coal is the only fuel which India has in abundance, and the geopolitics do not permit ready access to piped natural gas. Okay, because there is Pakistan, so हमें Afghanistan से नहीं मिलता है, and China से also we have issues. And that's why thermal power plants are most important. Because if you see the rest of the world, in the rest of the world, oil is very important, but for India, coal is very important. Okay, coal plays a vital role in ongoing efforts to achieve Sustainable Development Goal 7, which is ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, modern energy for all. So variable renewable energy jo hota hai, it is around 24% of total installed capacity, which is the main article is about this renewable energy. Okay, and the ramp up of VRE generation capacity without commensurate growth in electricity demand has resulted in lower utilization of TPPs whose fixed cost must be paid by discoms. Okay, so matlab you are rising that VREs, renewable energy mein, you are definitely putting investment and you are encouraging, but people say there is no demand pull. Okay, so there is definitely growth of the VRE. 24% is a big figure, right? 24% you are getting from solar, wind energies. So the current level of VRE in national power grid is increasing the cost of power procurement for discoms. Specifically, the Forum of Regulators has estimated there's a lot of burden of integration of VRE sources and all. So there are obviously some issues of VREs. So what should we do? So we need to have a time-bound transition plan where there should be progressive retirement of 36 gigawatt installed generation capacity in the thermal power plants based on key performance like efficiency, specific coal consumption, technology, age and all. So ये सब देख के the TPPs जो होते हैं they have to utilize more of this variable renewable energy. Okay. So the TPPs have already signed power purchase agreements with discoms, and thanks to two-part tariff policy, the fixed costs are borne by the power consumers. Okay, in addition, NPCL is also there. They're also constructing the 11 nuclear plants. So by having this sort of transition plan, the total installed capacity of TPPs operated by utilizing capacities will increase from 209 to 220 gigawatt. So that is what the authors have told, and very technical information they've given. Okay, so the gist of the article is, जो हमारा energy security क्या होना है, TPPs have definitely risen, but they should be affordable, reliable and sustainable. Okay, this is the things I've told you. ARS, remember this? Affordable, reliable and sustainable energy for all is our energy sustainable development goal number 7. Okay, so इस हिसाब से हमें we should slowly transition from the TPPs to the variable renewable energy. Okay, that is the author's main contention and demand. Okay, so and they have given their own plan. Okay, we don't have to mug up their plan. Okay, they are from the National Institute of Advanced Studies, but how they have sort of given how we should minimize transmission of the particulate matter SO2, NO2. Okay, the PM pollution and CO2 pollution, ये सब खत्म करना है, and so in that way we can have the commitment to climate change mitigation by optimizing use of land, coal, water and financial resources with indigenous technology. Okay, so important article. Next, about Bangladesh में क्या हो रहा है? I hope you know, there were attacks on the Hindu community. Okay, during the Durga Puja. So about that they have given. Okay, and that net zero pe more article, CSC has told that for India to achieve net zero even by 2070, the usage of coal should peak by 2040 and drop by 99% between 2040 to 2060. So that's why a lot of people say we should ban coal and all, you know. But if we peak the coal, because we have how much? We have 300 billion tons of coal, okay, in our country, and we hardly mine 700 million tons, and a lot of that we also import. So if we peak that, then we can have a proper utilization of the energy system, right? Okay, next, India-UK ties will become vital. So our EAM, Mr. S. Jaishankar, has returned back from Israel. With Israel, we had the Quad, a new Quad. So he had met the British Foreign Secretary in India. So the relations between UK and India is vital over the coming decades. Ms. Thrush, she met External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, who is scheduled to be a special guest. So they are discussing on the vital ties. Mainly, again, this ties also, they revolve around the trade partnerships. Okay, enhanced trade partnership, energy, some energy security, vaccines, COVID-19 and all. And they have also, you know, the departure of US and UK troops who are. So there is a vocal support within government of Boris Johnson, which believes people of Afghanistan should not be made to suffer, while world waits to include Taliban on an inclusive government. Okay. Right. And they're trying to build a contour of theater command, where, you know, all the armed forces, the army, air force, navy, special forces, all of them as a theater command they can work. So whenever Mr. Rajnath Singh is invited to anywhere, he gives a spot of speech on the internal security situation. Uska hai. Okay, so BrahMos also they have deployed in eastern Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, in Arunachal Pradesh. Because slowly we are seeing in LAC of Arunachal Pradesh there is some militarization going on. Okay, all political news. Like I told you, very factual, very political news. And yesterday, Harshdeep Puri has given a slamming statement. He had told that petro taxes which are there, they're funding your vaccines. Okay, the excise duties levied on petroleum is funding the COVID-19 vaccines and public welfare schemes. So facing multiple queries, he had told that, center had been charging 32 a liter in excise irrespective of whether oil barrel price was $19 or $84. Okay, $19 से $84 बढ़ गया, I hope you know. So there are severe winters somewhere and a problem between two countries. So in सबसे there is just you can't have a simplistic definition. You are saying हम बढ़ा रहे taxes बढ़ा रहे and all this, but that duty which is there, that tax duty which is there, it is funding your COVID-19 vaccines. So in that way, he has defended the rising petro taxes. Okay. Next, air bubbles will continue for some time. Okay. So next we have international news in which US will defend Taiwan against China. Okay, so he is talking pro Taiwan and against China. Biden has made statements. Then US House votes to hold Steve Bannon in contempt over some capital letter ka subpoena. He didn't reply. So very localized US news. I don't know why they even gave it. And 43 countries call on China at UN to respect the Uyghur rights. Okay, Uyghur community Muslims who live in the Xinjiang province, they are generally, they come under human rights issues about torture, forced sterilization, disappearances and all. So some countries have raised in UN about this, about the ethnic cleansing. Okay, Barbados' first president has been elected. Okay, they have removed Britain's Queen Elizabeth as head of state, Sandra Mason. She is set to sworn in as the first president. Okay, अभी तक मतलब British monarchy is having some influence on some countries. Okay. Now the economic news. This is the important part I found in today's paper. So energy transition poses inflation risks. So again, I told you, आप जहाँ पे भी देखोगे कुछ दिन तक we'll see a lot of environment news. So ongoing worldwide energy transition to green energy poses significant risks of having energy price shocks. Okay, Jayant Verma, sole member of Monetary Policy Committee, has voted against continuing with central bank's accommodative policy stance. So he was the one who had voted against it, so he's talking about this. So some about financial risks ka day-to-day ball-by-ball commentary has given. And he was, in favor of raising reverse repo rate. So all this, this very day-to-day sort of issues. So from this article, the important thing is the core inflation is affected by the price of transport prices and transport services. So they are directly affected by the crude oil price shocks. So reduction in indirect taxes would play an important role in easing shocks and overall inflation. Okay, so there has to be some tax cuts on fuel. But Harshdeep Puri is saying that no, it is helping our welfare schemes, they're saying. So that sort of issues going on. Okay, RIL Reliance Industries have surged 43% in oil products demand. Okay, so there is a profit jump. Again, people who are interested in share market, take note of this. Protection of consumer interest is non-negotiable. So RBI's M. Rajeshwar Rao, he urged NBFCs to give utmost importance to protection of customers, especially because it's non-negotiable. So there are some incidents of coercive recovery practice, mainly by commercial considerations. It has dented the credibility of whole system. So we should not compromise on the ethos of finance for ephemeral gains. So just for small gains, you shouldn't malign the entire NBFC sector. Okay, RBI was inundated with complaints of harsh recovery, breach of data privacy, increasing fraudulent transactions and all. Okay. So India will act on the unfair trade practices. Yes, told we are engaging with like-minded nations of EU, UK, Canada, Australia, and UAE for the conclusion of free trade agreements. Piyush Goyal has told. SEBI approves the IPO of Paytm. So Paytm का IPO आने वाला है. SEBI mulls ISIN cap for corporate bond liquidity. What is this? It is basically ISIN is the International Security Identification Number code. So the number of such codes for bonds based on private placement have to be there according to SEBI. Okay, let's say obviously you can have a boost to the liquidity market. Matlab, they are there, but you have to cap them. Okay, IOC ICE full refinery run as fuel demand rebounds. Okay, petrol, LPG are back to pre-COVID levels. So this is going on. Okay, so that's it. World Cup shuru hone wala hai. And other sports news, no important awards, nothing has been won. Okay, a lot of ads today, I felt. Because Saturday, Saturday Sunday both ads hote. Okay. So coming to our Indian Express. In Indian Express also a lot of political news. I didn't find a lot of UPSC and competitive examination related news. So, for example, explained article has talked about Congress today, and death of some actors on field. Okay, next is about metaverse of Facebook, which they're planning, because they're changing the name. Facebook, since they've included in a WhatsApp, your Instagram, and other companies, like they have also have Oculus VR and all. So Facebook is trying to change its name, just like Google ka parent company. I hope it's not Google. It is called as Alphabet. So in that way, they're building a multiverse. Okay, then special court order in Aryan case is another instance where lower courts choosing jail over bail. So deprivation of liberty, even a single day, is a day too many. So a year ago, same thing. Bombay High Court had denied bail to Arnab Goswami, because courts must uphold in order to remain the first line of defense. But that bail, not jail, must be the judiciary's reflex, and the process must not descend into punishment, according to this article. Okay, so basically Aryan ka chal raha hai. The refusal of special court to grant bail to Aryan Khan raises questions. Why is that? There are some guidelines. So 23-year-old was detained by National Narcotics Control Bureau, even though no drugs were found in his possession. He has no previous history also. No blood test was carried out. So why is he being tortured? The article has been talking about. Okay. So some wisdom after COVID they have given. So very broad article. Nothing very specific for our exam, I felt. Like, they have given their own school of thought. Like abhi COVID-19, post-COVID-19 economy mein kya problems ho sakte? They are saying that we cannot raise interest rates because they have got addicted. Everyone has got addicted to low rates. And second is, we cannot have a disruption in the monetary policy. Okay, so US Federal Bank Reserve ke baare mein they have given. Okay, again, day-to-day, ball-by-ball commentary sort of thing on the urban households and kya ho raha hai abhi. On the local area kya ho raha hai. The Diwali and Fab India ka controversy. And Health Ministry about the COVID-19 vaccination. Okay, Vice Chancellor का politics in DU. Okay, one small article which is good for anti-defection law. Though I don't know why it was in news, matlab she has given from a very static point of view. Okay, and obviously she was aligned with the Congress. She was in charge of this student wing of Congress. So anyway, she has talked about case for internal democracy in political parties has to be made afresh. That ठीक है democracy है, but party के अंदर भी democracy होना. So democratic accountability in a political party is qualitatively different from that of country. A political party is a collaborative platform to capture state power to achieve a certain vision for the society. Right. So the most common solution to having internal democracy is through internal elections for leadership positions. Okay, elected representatives, they'll be grounded. They'll also they can also hold the leadership accountable. Okay, but there are some issues. The proponents underestimate power of existing repository of power to subvert the internal process, because there is no system presently to have internal democracy. And the assumption that lower levels would be independent and they hold levels of leadership to account glosses over many ways power asserts itself. Third, internal elections is contingent to independence and quality of electorate. So उसमें rigging हो सकता है. Okay, like there were concerns that Donald Trump had hijacked Republican Party by primaries. Okay, by the primaries. So internal elections may factionalize power, but cannot establish normative accountability. Okay. So normative accountability जो है, it is in the dynamic context, and political parties are repositories of hard power and they draw a mix of individuals driven by ideology. So ultimately, internal institutional process replicate the balance of power instead of substantially altering it. Okay, so in that very static sort of thing she is given, and ultimately just here, instead of looking at internal party process, one way to decentralize power is getting rid of anti-defection law. कि जब भी internal party, internal democracy का बात होगा, anti-defection law तो आएगा ही. So the need to canvass votes in legislature will create room for negotiation, and electoral process will be independent of party machinery and internal coalitions. And most importantly, the reform will impose a similar burden on all political parties. So the party organization is more expansive than elected representatives, and the candidate often has marginal electoral value, and the amendment may further undermine the opposition in the face of heavy-handed executive. So in this way she has given. So if your option is political science, I found it's a good article. But even if not, internal democracy पे एक question आ सकता है mains में for the UPSC level. So definitely you should be talking about obviously the anti-defection law. Okay. So that's it, friends. That is our discussion of Hindu Indian Express. So short class because I didn't find any important articles for today. So let us meet tomorrow, same time before 10 o'clock. We'll have